Okay, my love. So, as promised, I'm going to be taking you on a little tour of the back end of my website today. Not really the website so much as one particular blog post from earlier this week, one of my epic evergreen blog posts that we are going to be optimizing and repurposing together. So, if you are already in my free community on Facebook, the Wildly Creative Women Facebook group, then you know why we're here talking about this and doing this right now because we've been talking about it all week long in there. But if you are not in that group, then maybe you need a little bit of catching up. So, pretty much what we've been working on within the community is transitioning from being dependent on third-party social media platforms and convenience traps like ClickFunnels and Kajabi and all of those um, super popular platforms that promise a whole heck of a lot of convenience at what feels like an inexpensive cost up front, but as we now know, they have a really hefty long-term cost on our goals, not to mention our bank account and the amount of time and all that good stuff. So I'm just here to pull back the curtain and let you know that although all of these third party platforms, these convenience traps, have demonized WordPress as this just completely impossible, overwhelming platform to use, the fact of the matter is, not only do all roads eventually lead back to WordPress anyway, it's pretty much just as easy to use as all of those other drag and drop builders once you set up your themes. So, just in total transparency, I'm going to be working on my conversion blueprint funnels from Netta and Evelyn. I will drop links, of course, below. I'm also going to be using one of if not in this video, the next one, and I'll drop links anyway. I'll be using Tasty links and pins, which I am an affiliate for, and so I will totally set you up with those. But also, as you can see here, I am working from with Divi as my theme. And then I've also got the MemberPress and Upsell plugins, which are how I build my courses and my memberships and all that good stuff. But for today, we're really just going to focus on this brand new evergreen blog post that I published earlier this week. It's going to be, it's going to be 48 hours old later this morning. I'm too tired to do the math right now. As you can see, it's just about to be 4:44. Ooh, I love that one. If you follow angel numbers, you know what I'm talking about. But it's definitely pretty early. So, anywho, what we're going to be doing is I'm going to take you on a little tour of this post, how I have it so far in its maybe not its first draft. We'll call it like its second draft version, even though I've already got it published, as you can see. And I'm just going to walk you through how I would casually go about optimizing this for myself if I wanted to come back and revisit it and get ready to repurpose it at the same time. Okay. So if you don't already know, while I am opening up my little Google Doc here so we can take some notes, I have been in high-level content marketing strategies and content production for the better part of a decade. I started as a freelancer and worked my way up until I was ingratiated in the Fortune 500s and 100s. And then I got to this point where it was like only the rich people that I didn't care about helping were the ones that could afford me. And I'd really just become the category queen of all real estate content and content marketing and distribution. So once I got burnt out on that and I realized I was so far away from the audience I really wanted to help, which was women like me that wanted to be able to scale their passions and their purpose and create a legacy of their own based on their creativity. Ooh, well, not only was that liberating, but it became really clear that I was going to have to kind of unlearn a lot of the things that I had learned and rebuild them back up and learn how to kind of teach and break everything down again in a whole different way, which has been so exciting and I've loved every minute of it. Enough of that. Let's see here. Let's pull up the blog post we're going to be working with. That's our published version. Let's get our notes here. So I know pretty much all there is to know, of course. There's always so much to learn about SEO and content and organic content primarily. And I should make that point that I've never been an ads girl. I've never been a paid girl because to me, if I put myself in a position where my business is doing well because I'm running ads or primarily because I'm running ads, I believe that puts me in such a deeply vulnerable position to lose my entire business overnight because, again, I'm putting all of my power in a third party platform that has the ability to change my rates at any point. And as far as I'm concerned, that is not a viable long term strategy. Not to mention, I'm not interested in paying for all of my clients and customers. I would so much rather play the long game and focus on really, really, really high quality, lifelong clients and customers and readers and viewers that are going to be steadfastly loyal and really absorb and appreciate everything that I put out and create for them. That's far more rewarding and blissful and financially rewarding, in my opinion, than pretty much just putting yourself on this hamster wheel of content that needs to get out more and more and more and more on all of these different platforms while spending a fortune on running ads trying to get attention to all of these posts and yada yada yada, and recognizing after a really long time that, oh, vanity numbers and followers do not convert in our bank account. Big difference, okay? And you'll hear me talk a lot about the difference between followers and traffic and email subscribers and clients and customers and all these different things, right? But enough of that. So let's get our notes going, and I'm going to go ahead and drop these notes for you in the description below. So make sure that you, after you subscribe and click the little bell so that you can get notified for the next video when we come back and do even more repurposing, which is going to be so freaking cool. But also you'll be able to get all of the goodies that I like to bring along for most of these sessions. Okay, so yeah, oh my good God, my love, I am so sleepy, it seems. We gotta get down on this coffee together. If you don't have your coffee already, or your kombucha, your water, my goodness, I'm thinking we should have like a word of the day for these videos where we take a sip of our water or kombucha or whatever we're drinking. Okay. I want to do this. We'll just make her a little checkbox. I like that. All right. So here's my back end here. Okay. So when you are logged into your WordPress, essentially all I've done is navigate to posts, and that is where you will find all of your blog posts. And in this particular case, we're going to be working on my most recent post, which I have already published, the Shiny Object Syndrome Cure that saves freelancers years of distractions. What we're going to be doing is looking to optimize this post while also keeping our eye out for any potential repurposing opportunities. But I also want to draw your attention to the fact that this video, like what you and I are doing right here, right now, is a repurposing example of this. content, okay? So if I'm being totally honest, I've already done a little repurposing in the last 40 hours or so with this post. But I tried to keep that to a bare minimum because I really wanted to get all of that documented for you in one of these videos. So title, we can see that it's published. These are some of the categories that I've already selected and tags for SEO purposes. And here we can see that I'm getting an 84 out of 100 SEO rating, which to me is really exciting. So what I'm going to do is hit edit here and show you what it's going to look like. All right, so there are two places that I like to edit from when working with my DV builder for my blog posts. There's the blog post itself, which we will go and look at in a minute with the DV builder. But first, what I want to do is draw your attention to the bottom sections and the right-hand section here, which is going to allow us to not just identify what's not really doing us any favors in terms of our SEO right now, but also give us the ability to make some quick edits to those things. So let's just take a moment and go through here and see what it's telling us. Here's our little snippet preview. Here is where we get our post title, our meta description, okay, which I've already written and optimized with Chat GPT. And I do use Chat GPT for the paid version. You certainly don't have to have it, but to be honest, for the ability and all of the different applications that come with that version for a very nominal price, if it's within your budget, I highly, highly, highly recommend it. It's like hiring a whole other person or something in a sense. So for the price, you kind of can't beat it. As long as you know what you're doing and how to prompt it and all that good stuff. But again, I always want to remind you that AI is not going anywhere, and this is now a basic skill, just like computer skills, okay? So being afraid of it is not going to make it go away or make it less of a requirement for you to be successful in life and business moving forward. The sooner that you tackle and address the things that you're afraid of, the sooner you'll realize they're just not as scary as you think, and you are so much more capable of working with them than you like to pretend, okay? So let's see where our shiny object syndrome was the focus key phrase for this article. And I'm going to take you through the content of the article and explain why I chose this topic so that you understand that point as well, because it is important to be very, very, very intentional in our topic selection. And this one not only came from SEO knowledge, but it also happened to originate within my journal, which is where honestly all my best ideas for content come from. And I'm going to actually be doing a live 3-day challenge in the Wildly Creative Women Facebook group in November. So November 2023. The replay will be available in certain key areas as well. But the live challenge is going to be a really cool, liberating challenge where I'm going to show you how to leverage very intentional journal entries to not only make yourself feel better every single day, but to create unbelievably powerful content that converts, just like the cliche that you see and read every day. Okay? All right, so shiny object syndrome. We have already got a 100 out of 100. I feel like I just got like a spelling test back or a pop quiz back from the other day with 100 on it. Love it. So I was able to include this focus key phrase in my SEO title, within my meta description, I've got an optimized length. It's within my URL. It's within my intro. It's in the subheadings, and I've got an optimized density. Now, if you are newer to SEO and keywords, SEO is short for search engine optimization. It's essentially how any piece of content gets found on platforms like Google and Pinterest or YouTube, which are all three search engines, right? Many people mistake Pinterest for social media, but no, 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 no. It is a very lucrative search engine, my love. So, keywords, one of the biggest mistake newbies make with keywords and SEO is they like to stuff them everywhere and use them too much, which will immediately let your search engines like Google know what you are trying to do, and they will punish you for it. So there is a very healthy balance that needs to be struck in terms of the focus keywords and the keyword density. All right. So, all right, I'm really happy about all that. All our basic SEO is doing really, really well. We've also got strong content length, internal links, external links. Let's just show you. There's nothing really big there for you to see. I didn't want you to think I'm holding back some big mystery. But look, we've got an error in our title. It's over 60 characters, and I agree, it's super duper long. And I did some of this on purpose. We have some readability issues. So there are already images and video in the content. There's going to be more videos in the content because videos like this one are going to get added. So as the week goes on, this post is only going to continue to grow in terms of videos and different things like that. But I very intentionally left a few different readability errors within this content so that we would have these teachable moments. And I'm so glad that it worked the way that I hoped it would. So let's see here. I just wanted to minimize this because it's just irrelevant for what we're working on right now. And we are going to be working with our tasty pins in a few moments, but we do not need it right now. I'll pop that bad boy up. And that's just if we wanted to add some page notes, which we don't need to do just yet, but we could take the notes that we're creating over here about repurposing and optimizing and actually add them down there if we wanted to, either for ourselves or for maybe a VA or someone on the team that's working with us to develop our website content, or maybe it's even me. Of course, if you are one of my clients, then you know that we do everything from our client portal, but I just wanted to give you that little note about how you can leverage that section, or you could even post the link of the Google Doc or whatever it is that works for you. Okay. All right. So let's go over some of these readability issues. We see that we have paragraph length that is too long. Some of our sentences are too long. In fact, 53.8% of the sentences contain more than 20 words, which is more than the recommended maximum of 25%, which means we have some sentences to shorten. All right. We're good on transition words and consecutive sentences. That's some of the more boring technical writing stuff. But we've also got 3 sections of our text which are longer than 300 words and not separated by subheadings. So that is a huge opportunity. That's super exciting. And then finally, our Fleshies reading score. So, ooh, do I love, love, love to talk about this. This is one of the first lessons you will also learn in terms of SEO and content and copywriting once you start to really roll up your sleeves and get educated on how all of this works and how to get found in the top spots of Google and Pinterest and the like, okay? When it comes to written content, in this effort, especially in the infopreneurship world, to prove our expertise. One of the biggest mistake that coaches and creators are making is they're trying to come from this authoritative place where they end up speaking way above the audiences, the primary or main audiences, even reading level. And unfortunately, what we need to do most of the time is aim to write in a way that would be understandable for anyone from like generally in around a 7th grade reading level. So we're looking for like our 12 to 14-year-old reading level, okay? So it's very, very, very important, unless you are writing, maybe some seriously in-depth medical or scientific, journals or something like that, that you take into consideration the heavy weight of readability, okay? These, by the way, for those of you that have never hired a content writer or ghostwriter or copywriter like myself to produce their content, especially their organic SEO content, and maybe you're wondering why it can be such an intense investment at times, it's because there's so much more art and science to this than just putting words on page about what you do. All right. There is so much more that goes into it. And we're not even talking about psychology and things like that, which are even more important to the SEO in a sense, because we can't actually have proper SEO without understanding the psychology of our target as they move through each phase of our customer journey. Did I confuse you yet? So, depending on how much marketing theory you already know and understand, that might have made perfect sense, or that might have been 10 yards over your head. And either way, that's okay. You're still in the right place. You're more than welcome here. We're going to learn everything together. Okay. So now that we've identified what our issues are, let's just make a little to-do list. Boy, do we love to-do lists around here. We love to check them. Paragraph length. Y'all, it's still 5 in the morning. All right, sentence length. Subheadings, and then now. Back in the day, passive voice. That's another really, really big one. I don't think I said that, did I? 15.4% of these sentences contain passive voice, which is more than the recommended 10%. Okay, so that means we got to pick out a few sentences that have passive voice and rework them so that our percentage is accurate and that we are properly guiding with authority. Okay, that's how you know if you're being authoritative or not. All right. Okay. Now, until, the last year or two, which I'll say this, my love, if you have not been in this industry for a long time, then you probably think that AI like Chat GPT or Copy AI and these are brand new. And while Chat GPT might be mainstream and Midjourney and all these might be just now kind of mainstream, AI like Chat GPT, these language processors that pretty much just predict the next most likely word in the sentence, these have been around pretty much the entire time that I have been doing this. So definitely since 2016, 2017, these have been around. Now, they were far less sophisticated. And in fact, for the most part, they put out some of the most horrific garbage content that can be found. If you can find it, which is the point, is that it produced such terrible content that it didn't get found. But some sold it, some didn't play the SEO game with it. So anywho, the point is that now we do have these amazing tools that we don't need to be afraid of. And because of them, doing things like optimizing a blog post for paragraph length, sentence length, passive voice readability is so much faster and easier. So you really don't need to be, a decades old expert in all of this stuff to start optimizing your posts for these things. Is it the best use of your time? No, you really ideally would outsource this, but I also understand that we all start somewhere. And so it's also a really good tool for you if you are going to hire out for these kinds of things to understand what you want to have this copywriter or VA or content producer doing for you, right? Because it's really, really hard to hire people and trust them to do the right thing and do the best possible job if we don't even understand their job or their job description, right? So I'm hoping that even if you have zero plans of doing any of this stuff yourself, that I'm at least opening your eyes to a little bit more of how all of this works so that you'll be in a more empowered position to be able to guide your team and make the right hires, okay? Alrighty. So that said, we are going to pull up a new window in Chat GPT. Okay, let's hide this little guy, get him out of the way. And let's let Chat GPT know what we're going to do. Actually, I think let's go through the blog post itself. I think there's been enough build up now, right? Dun 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 dun. The shiny object syndrome cure that saves freelancers years of distractions. I don't know why I sang it. Just bear with me. All right, it's been a crazy week. And in fact, to be honest with you, when we get into repurposing, guess how many times that title is going to change. But we also got to change it at some point for the length too. But first things first, got to take a sip of coffee. All right. Okay. So quick overview here of how this blog post looks right now. And painfully, what I'm going to do, not so painfully, a kid. I'm going to read this to you right now. So if you haven't read it, or even if you have read this post, odds are it's changed since you read it. But this is your opportunity to just kind of sit back, take a deep breath for a moment, and just relax. I'm going to read this post to you. And what I want you to do is to keep your ears open for how the sentences might sound long, the voice might sound passive, and how it just might seem maybe awkward in phrasing, things like that, okay? Then, after I've read this whole thing through once with you, we're going to come back and grab the content itself. I'll show you how to do that. We're going to feed it to Chat GPT-4 and let it know what we need to do in order to optimize our post and get as close to that 100 out of 100, which is going to make my perfectionist around here very, very, very happy. Okay. And part of the reason I said I was going to talk to you about the topic selection, part of the reason I'm so pumped about this, it's actually going to be revealed in a moment as I read the content of the post to you. But I'll just tell you part of the reason that I'm so pumped about this particular Evergreen post is that it is addressing not just something that has impacted me in my whole entire life. It was a major impact on me, especially as a child, because both of my parents suffer from this syndrome. But it's also run rampant with clients of mine and prospects and students, and I've seen it just time and time and time again. And the other day, I was actually journaling about some issues that came up operationally for one of my clients because a few members of the team had become so deeply ingratiated with shiny object syndrome that they had just been so badly getting in their own way for weeks. And they had become really, really blinded to how they were showing up or not showing up in these different things. And so, yeah, it brought me to this place where I was journaling and journaling. And by the time I got to page 3, I was like, okay, we're really onto something here. Then what I went to do was to go research the topic after I had written all about it. And to my surprise, in 2023, I'm, obviously there, just like always, there's, one or two like reports, more scientific reports published, and then media picks it up, right? But in this particular case, we're talking Forbes, Inc., like all the big, like super business, authority voices in media picked it up and started declaring the fact that shiny object syndrome is the leading cause of failure for entrepreneurs now, as of 2023 and beyond. And there's a lot of reasons for that. So, without further ado, here's your opportunity to close your eyes, sit back, and take a deep breath, my love. Okay, let's go through it. The cure for shiny object syndrome without further ado. Are you a multi-passionate entrepreneur with more ideas than you know what to do with? Are you frequently starting and stopping passion projects? Do you find yourself regularly changing strategies, tactics, website platforms, vendors, etc.? If you answered yes to any or all of these questions, well, odds are you have shiny object syndrome, one of the most debilitating behavioral cycles of visionaries like you. Shiny object syndrome, or shiny shit syndrome, as my mother always called it, is one of the most common problems that I see with my freelance clients and students on a daily basis, and it causes a heartbreaking amount of guilt and shame. So today, I decided to put an end to this by arming you with a deeper understanding of what is really happening when you catch shiny object syndrome and how you can overcome it for good. Make sure you pin, bookmark, print, and save this post everywhere you might be tempted to buy yet another shiny object like a template, course, sales funnel, masterclass, certification, etc. Okay, ready? Let's go. What is shiny object syndrome? Shiny object syndrome, or SOS, is a continual state of distraction brought on by an ongoing belief that there is something new worth pursuing. It often comes at the expense of what's already planned or underway, as well as your self esteem, ability to make decisions, and your ability to lead. Yikes. All right, why is shiny object syndrome so toxic for service providers? The easier question to answer might be what isn't toxic about shiny object syndrome, because in reality, even Forbes named this the number one threat facing entrepreneurs in 2023 and beyond, more than economic downturn. This is only partially because we're being programmed to become distracted more and more quickly, while the number of potential distractions, aka shiny objects, multiplies at a compounding rate all around us daily. Let's examine some of the other biggest reasons these distractions are so cancerous to your creativity and cash flow. Number 1, the inability or unwillingness to commit to a strategy creates a revolving door of tech, tools, and team members who quickly realize you're disloyal and you don't have the ability to lead with focus. 2, if you're a coach, team leader, or mentor, this installs a toxic culture based on doing whatever feels good in the here and now rather than what is best for the big picture. Number 3, despite the big promises of suddenly being able to do everything faster, better, and easier, the reality is that every switch is a setback, almost never for a setup. Number 4, 100% of the shiny objects that you buy will fail and cost you both time and money until you commit to using them long term, no matter how shiny the next object is. And number 5, it becomes nearly impossible for you and your team to deliver consistent results because your capacity is constantly being consumed with learning new strategies that also change the quality and the turnaround time of your work. Any single one of these reasons would be considered a kiss of death for service providers, freelancers, and coaches. Put them all together, we've got a real David and Goliath situation. Now, if you're being really honest with yourself, you already recognize that you rarely truly take the time to watch all of the tutorials and practice putting every single step of most of the strategies and tools and courses into practice for long enough. I'm talking months, maybe years, to collect the data around its promised performance against your required KPIs before you decide, it won't work for me. In fact, most of the freelancers and coaches I work with don't even know what KPIs to track. And the main reason they give themselves permission to switch is, is that they aren't independently wealthy, so they must need more. Make no mistake about it. The psychological effects or pull that this creates within you and in the moment can be overwhelmingly powerful and intoxicating to the point where you feel powerless over it, just like an addiction. It can go hand in hand with other addictions and shame cycles if you are predisposed to addictions. That said, if you continue to allow this addiction to rage on within you and your business unchecked, it will have an irreparable impact on your legacy, and you will find yourself looking back with a lot of regret for projects unfinished and goals never met. That is the best case scenario. Worst case scenario is you're going to wake up bankrupt sooner than you ever imagined possible. For the record, I don't believe in fear-mongering, but I'm also not here to hold your hand and tell you everything will always be okay no matter what, because that's a lie. I'm here to hold a mirror to you and illuminate the blind spots that are keeping you stuck and unsatisfied. And at times, that requires a dose of hard truth. Just know I sit here writing this from a place of understanding, empathy, and dedication to helping you realize your legacy. Now that you understand that fixing this behavioral pattern is not an option if you want to be in business long term, let's explore practical and actionable tools you can use to start making more empowering decisions for yourself and your business, both immediately and long term. So, what triggers us into switching strategies? Again, the first thing you need to do before we even examine the most common triggers of shiny object syndrome is to forgive yourself for the pattern and release any guilt or shame you may be carrying. It is important that we lean on the cognitive behavioral therapy approach of drawing our attention to our triggers without judging ourselves, blaming ourselves, or criticizing ourselves for the behavior, because doing so only damages the self-esteem that we need to build for our cure, and it decreases our capacity. Our goal here is to increase your capacity and empower you to make healthier choices for yourself and your company so that there is zero negative self-talk allowed for this next step in our healing process. Okay, here come the 5 daily triggers for shiny object syndrome you need to know. Number 1, we're impatient. When we grow impatient for the results we crave most, we allow ourselves to become extra vulnerable to shiny objects that promise a faster, easier, better way. Number 2, comparing ourselves. The more you compare yourself and your offers outside of required market research when you're writing your business plan, the more it will cripple your ability to resist the shiny objects or to ever feel satisfied with what you have. Number 3, no business plan. Babe, your business plan, when done correctly, serves as a North Star because it's going to dictate your long-term goals, the strategy that you use to reach those goals, and what core values you will allow to determine the best tactics, tools, and content to use to get there on a realistic timeline. If you never wrote a business plan, odds are you're flying by the seat of your pants right now, trying to fake it till you make it while chasing an endless cycle of toxic validations while becoming codependent with both your business and your team. Number 4, no self-management system. One of the most painful lessons in self-employment is learning to self-manage in order to make meaningful progress while still striking a balance between work and life. If you don't have a self-management system that works for you yet, you're likely to buy anything and everything that will tell you what to do just so that you can feel like you know what you're doing. Number 5, convenience traps that trick us. Convenience traps are most commonly the all-in-one or one-size-fits-all solutions that promise a major convenience factor up front while costing you a fortune on the back end in wasted time, money, and countless other resources. Examples of convenience traps are platforms like Wix, Kajabi, or ClickFunnels that trick you into thinking you're going to own your own platform while actually making you completely dependent on them and all of their third-party dealings, which are rarely in your best interest. The true root cause of shiny object syndrome. Now, since triggers only really exist at the surface level of the problem, addressing them alone is like putting a few band-aids on bullet holes. We have to get to the true root cause of the actual problem, not the symptoms of the problem. For some, that root cause stems from early childhood, like I told you, and has been completely embedded in our daily life for decades. For others, this problem may have only started after you started your business. Are you psychologically hardwired to be addicted to shiny objects? Although every human is subject to this phenomenon, the reality is there are certain archetypes that are psychologically more at risk to shiny object syndrome. Of the 4 female archetypes, the sage dreamer and the rebel maiden are significantly more predisposed to becoming highly addicted to swapping shiny objects in and out of their business and life. Both of these female archetypes struggle with commitment to taking consistent action, selling, and an overwhelming stream of big ideas that they feel strongly compelled to act on in the moment. As a result, they cling to shiny objects to avoid selling, to avoid social situations, and to avoid success in general because they don't believe they deserve it or that it's meant for them. Even if you are not psychologically predisposed to this pattern, you could still be facing one of these common root causes of this form of self-sabotage. Lack of self-awareness. If you aren't actively focused on developing self-awareness, odds are you have no idea you're guilty of this toxic behavioral pattern, which means you're going to be doomed to keep repeating it in every aspect of life and business. Insecurities. If you lack confidence and self-esteem, it will be much harder for you to stop buying products and services that offer toxic validation. Struggles with commitment. Quitting can be very healthy, but always quitting and never committing to anything through completion is a problem that will undermine your confidence, decision-making, and financial security forever. Lack of self-trust. If you buy something at a point when you lack self-trust, I can pretty much promise you will soon abandon it too for the next thing, unless it is a sustainable solution for your lack of self-trust. Why? Well, your internal dialogue after the purchase will repeat that script you have about how you never stick to anything you start. This is why we call it a vicious behavioral cycle that is powered by your thoughts, beliefs, and actions. You don't have a business coach or a mentor to consult. This goes hand in hand with the lack of self-awareness. The fact is, we all have blind spots in our businesses, our relationships, beliefs, and behaviors, and we all deserve the unwavering and ethical support of a business coach or mentor that gets it. Just as the benefit of therapy provides you with an outlet to voice all of your concerns without the fear of negative consequences like hurting someone's feelings, a coach or a mentor is trained to help you safely see how you are in control of your results so that you stop looking for validation in exterior, shiny objects. Scarcity mindset triggers self sabotage. If I hand you $10 billion to operate your company and all of the resources of the United States government and every Fortune 100 company, and you have a scarcity mindset, you will bankrupt yourself in a matter of months. There's no strategy on the planet that will ever work for you if you are operating in scarcity. A scarcity mindset is the primary fuel source for self sabotage, and you are likely to be completely, and then it stops. Okay. Your expectations don't match reality. Unrealistic expectations used to be my most debilitating shiny object syndrome trigger, and I see it daily in my students and clients. Let's say you buy into ClickFunnels' highest subscription tier, which provides the extremely toxic training you need to use the software to the best of its ability. And because they say that you can have your first funnel up in a matter of minutes, which is technically true, you start subconsciously counting all of the riches you're about to ring up, right? In reality, the learning curve for the marketing theory that you need to learn before you can even learn how to use their funnels could take you years. Fucking years. Next thing you know, you're 18 months and 5 figures into ClickFunnels with disappointing results if you even have a funnel up, and you're looking for the next shiny object that will work for you in less time, and voila, the cycle continues. The holistic approach to overcoming shiny object syndrome. Now that you understand the root causes and more superficial triggers of your unconscious addiction to these distractions, you have the ability to holistically heal and protect yourself from repeating the pattern forever. We can't fix what we don't recognize, right? As a holistic coach with a firm focus on sustainable long-term strategies and solutions, I would have you start with the root causes first. This means rewriting your limiting beliefs, improving your self-esteem, empowering your decision-making instincts, and securing you with self-management systems that are required for mastery. Now, after coaching on this topic more times than I can count, I finally decided to create an actionable solution to this toxic behavioral trap. Let me introduce you to the free Overcome Shiny Object Syndrome Workbook, which is designed to help you heal the root causes and audit your existing strategies for maximum efficiency moving forward. Okay, open your eyes. How was that? How did it feel? How did it sound? Could you hear the awkwardness a few times? Towards the end there was, if your eyes are open, you can see right here, we had a sentence that never finished. There were a few different moments, right, that just sounded funky. A few things didn't exactly flow, right? Okay, so let's get to work and optimize. Let's optimize our post so that it flows and the SEO genies can give us a good score. Now, again, as you can see, we've got multiple images, which here, for example, I'm going to pull this one up by clicking on the little settings gear in DV. It allows me to pull this image up And you can see that I have it linked to the delivery page for that free workbook. But what you don't see at this particular moment is that I've also optimized each one of these images with SEO optimized alt tags, titles, descriptions, things like that. Okay, so all of that is going a long way as well. Now, as you heard me talk about in the post, limiting beliefs are one of the biggest things that are standing in your way. So I already embedded my rewriting limiting beliefs, which comes with another free workbook resource right within the content. Of course, I've got tons more like that that could help with the different issues that we identified. Same thing here. This is the workbook itself, so it links to that. I've got our title. Okay. So let's talk about, let's exit our visual builder for a moment so that it's not editable. Okay. And now what we're going to do is we're going to print this to PDF really quick. Oh, it wants to go landscape on me. I don't want that. I'm just going to put this in downloads. I'm going to be a total naughty. Normally I like to keep things far more organized as I go, but we're just going to do it like that. Okay. So now that we have our PDF version of this blog post, we're going to go over to Chat GPT 4. And I already have multiple PDF reading plugins added to Chat GPT 4 here, including Ask Your PDF and different things like that. So what we're going to do is let Chat GPT know what we got going on and what we're looking to accomplish. Okay. Whew. All right. So if you don't have Chat GPT and you're wanting to follow along and everything, you can just hit pause now and get yourself signed up. Okay. So let's rock and roll. Yes. Content. Okay, 5 biggest issues right now are some paragraphs and sentences that are too long. There is 7% too much passive voice. There are readability issues. Okay, so we're going to tell it what we want it to do, and we did not give it the PDF, and so it's going to actually tell us how it wants us to provide it with the PDF. Okay, sometimes this works, sometimes it doesn't, so we're going to see how it goes. Take you along for the ride. We're going to open her up. Okay. Oh, this is going to be okay. Let's here we go. That's what I wanted. Okay. So now what it's done is provide me with a link to this little like add-on plugin, Ask Your PDF. So I'm going to upload our PDF version of our blog post. And then it's going to produce this document ID here for me. So I'm going to hit copy, and then I'm going to return. Fabulous. So let's see what Ask Your PDF does for us today. I just love having you along for these little co-working sessions. It's so neat. Oh, it didn't get it for some reason. It's interesting. It wants me to upload it somewhere else. It's had me use this one before. No big deal. It can be kind of a pain in the butt sometimes, but considering how convenient this is overall, right? I don't think we really ever did complain, do we? Oh my gosh, that's so not what I wanted it to do. Why did it do that? What just happened? Oh, you guys, that's the wrong one, isn't it? This is the one, that's why. Oh, okay. So in AI Drive, here's what happened. When I clicked to grab the link, it popped up this box that gives you the chance to create the Chat GPT prompt right here and then copy it all at once, right? So there we go. Now we've got it fixed. Pop back over. This is why. See how many times I struggled to find the right tab? This is part of why we're not supposed to have so many tabs open. I'm being a naughty right now. This is me being a rebel. I've got all these tabs open. That's so silly. Okay, so, all right, now it looks like we finally got what we're looking for here. It's got our optimization. Beautiful. Fixed our title. recognizes that. Active voice. Okay, so it's pretty much telling us what to do, but that's not what I want. Okay, so now I just said, all right, I get what you want me to do, but I need you to like actually do it. So let's see how she does here. Wow, this is fabulous. So she's just pulling the entire transcript. This is so interesting. I never get tired of watching these bots work. It's so interesting that it did maybe in Python. Okay. So I'm going to copy that, see what it does. Okay, so it basically did like the intro a little bit for us, but it's we know there's a lot more issues, right? So it's weird. It looks like it did the same. Let's see. All right, so after all of this, I gotta tell you, I don't like what it's doing, and I feel like the easier way now to pivot with this would be to copy and paste the parts that we don't like directly. Okay, so since I already happen to know some of these, and maybe you can fill me in via the comments too. Let me know what you see in here and would love to see changed for flow or whatever. Okay, but we know, like right here, right? We know this section is super, super long and could use a subheading with all of these paragraphs. So let's do this. We're going to copy it. We're going to go back. Okay, so now it's giving us some ideas of how we could add additional subheadings. I like the idea of real consequences, self-reflection, accountability. So here, right? Okay, we got one in there. Come on. Oh, you know what we want to save all the time? Every time we're working in DB or really anything, doesn't matter what you're doing. If you don't have a feed built into what you're doing that will auto save, please, dear God, save constantly. Build the habit. Nothing sucks like working really hard on something only to have it lost immediately. Happened to me last week. I spent like 2+ hours recording a content audit for a client, and the video legit like disappeared in processing. It was heartbreaking. In fact, let's see. Ooh, we're already at an hour, so definitely going to be doing a repurposing in the next video. Okay, where were we? Why is it not? It's super weird to me. Alright, since it's being weird, I'm actually gonna open a whole other box and just copy paste that for a second. There we go. Oh, I didn't want that. It's one thing that drives me crazy about TV. It's always like a little off center. Okay. Alright, we fixed that. Again. Save. Oh, let's see if we can. Okay, I basically hate all of these sentences, but I will. I'm pressing Control C here to copy. I will change this one just for the sake of it, I don't like to, but I am going to do it, and did give us a shorter way of saying it, so fine. All right. Let's look for another section that could use some optimization. I know this is one. There we go. That one I will do. That's way better. And some, well, okay. That's the one with our incomplete sentence. Beautiful. I love the way it did it. Used NLP. Starting with imagine. By the way, NLP stands for Neuro-Linguistic Programming. It is what cult leaders use. It is what many, many, many content producers use in order to get you to take very specific actions, adopt certain thoughts, beliefs, yada, yada, yada. It can be done ethically, and it can be done very, very unethically too. It is a superpower. It is a complex learning process, but it is a very intense power, one that I wield with extreme caution and responsibility. But yeah, okay, so let's just copy paste this NLP optimized in here. I don't want this bold or italicized. Okay, save. Now let's, now that we've saved it, save. You get super paranoid about the saving. Now what we can do is actually exit that, and let's refresh and see what it says we're doing wrong now, if we've improved our score. Okay, so now it's giving us, it actually decreased our score. Oh my gosh, you guys, how funny is that? So it's still going to want more. So what we're going to keep doing is, oh, okay. I know this is going to be one of them, right? So let's ask Chat GPT to find the longest sentences. Okay, so we know we got that one done. So it really hates. I'm proud about. I really emphasize it'll never ever ever work. Goodness. Alright, so what we're gonna do is I hit Control F, it pops up this little search bar for us. Then I type ever. It's gonna find for us that section. Okay. So okay, I think we actually must have already eliminated it. It must have been in one of those sections because I'm not seeing it now. Okay, so that's actually good. My guess is some of these things are not actually registering. Okay, so from the content. Oh, optimize them. This is cool. It's going to show you some optimized versions. So I'm actually going to paste these in here for you so that you have these to see as an example. Okay. 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 All right, so now we've got that. Let's go in here. What we're going to do is keep using this box to find the sentences we need to fix. Okay. All right, so we did eliminate that sentence about ever, ever, ever. So that one's done. Let's look for the scarcity. Oh, we see that a lot, so let's look for a primary source. Don't do that. It's weird. Weird. Okay. Oh, yeah, I guess we did. Okay. All right, and then let's just go back to our archetypes. Okay, I think we got it. All right, so now we've gone through and double, triple checked that we have done all of these things. We're going to give the SEO a chance to let all of it register. And I will see you tomorrow in the next post where we will check in and see how our SEO and how our post is performing now that we've made these changes. And since I've added this video itself to the body of the post. So next time we will dive into all of the repurposing goodness. Okay, I can't wait to see you soon. I love you. Have a wildly creative day.